our process is we destem everything, crush the berries slightly, just modified a little bit the rolls of the crusher we have, which is a very basic and simple machine. And then the fermentation starts, but not on its own. We make pieds de cuve for every wine, because I've seen over let's say the length of years, just finished the 13th harvest, that there are moments where your fermentation starts, but not with the right yeasts. And it's a bit like sourdough bread. Not every sourdough is good dough, just like vinegar, and not the most aggressive vinegar is not the best. It's actually the more softer one, which is a good one. And also in the case of wine, there are subtle aromas which are related to some yeast strains, and aggressive ones which are related to other yeast strains. And so it's up to man, the producer, to select and to say, like, this is good or this is not good. And in the case of the pieds de cuves, usually we throw away 2 or 3 pieds de cuves before we have the right one. And then we start, and that's a batch, a starter batch, which is like 20 kilos, and then we add another 200. And once that is going well, then we start with let's say the harvest of of those plots, which is a bit of an elaborate way of working, because you pick in different stages, and you pick in different passages in the vineyard. But as we do this by, let's say, choice and by quality and by method of work, for me it doesn't make any big difference. But if you would, let's say, pick in certain moments, in bigger masses immediately, that would create a problem. And so it's a very, let's say, it's like minuterie, and it's a bit specific, tiny batches. But once everything is rolling and up and moving, then you work well. But for me, the beginning of the harvest is the most specific and most difficult, because I have to be very, very careful to smell in the tanks and whether they're good. Otherwise, I have to give them a bit more oxygen. And so the first days, sometimes I just sleep in the cellar, and I wake up every 2 or 3 hours, and just do punch downs. And but once let's say the bigger mass is fermenting and everything goes well, then let's say I feel also a bit more relaxed. But for me, a critical moment in vinification is exactly where when the starters have to be let's say have to be made, and also when the first batches are fermenting. Because once you close also the lids, close them with a cover, it's if the right yeast strains have not been activated, then it's very easy for acetone smells and deviating smells. And so afterwards you also have problems with VA and a whole series of technical problems you end up to. So that's a very critical phase for the vinification. Summer nearly suffocated and strangled, and so you don't have that